Hello everybody, I'm Judy Satori and I'm absolutely thrilled to be coming to Ireland. You know, Stephanie Kaneswaran and Kelly Kaneswaran, they invited me to Ireland in 2019. I met them in Bosnia and they also came to New Zealand because they read Sunshine Before the Dawn, my book about star beings. And my own story really is Sen, you're a Syrian woman who was responsible for the original creation of the human being. And so that really is why I'm coming, because for a long time now, about 25 years, I've been working with spirit, and for 20 of them, I've been speaking these languages called the language of light. And I speak multidimensional languages that I didn't know that I could ever speak. I was never taught to speak them. They just happened. And so I guess what I really want to get across to everybody is that we, all of us, have so many gifts and abilities and wisdom and knowing within us that we may not even realize that we can access. And part of my purpose and mission in coming to Ireland is to speak energy words which act like catalyst codes, triggers to help people access their own authentic truth and step into doing what they're meant to be doing. So I really am thrilled to be able to come. Looking forward to exploring Ireland. I want to go to Skellig Michael because I feel that there's a strong connection there. You know, a lot of energy is going to be coming forth from the Archangel Michael line as it begins in Skellig Michael and runs through Europe. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'm really excited to meet some of you, and I'll be going to be talking to Hazel Grogan in a moment, because I want to invite you to come to a free evening that I'm holding on Tuesday, the 30th of May, and it's going to be at the City North Hotel at County Meath. You're all warmly invited, and my purpose is to help people activate their own truth, really. And I'll look forward to talking with you and answering your questions. Thank you so much.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Hazel. It's lovely to see you and be with you
again. I know. I mean, it's been too long. It feels like the last time we met, which was 2019, it feels like it was last year.
Yes.
The whole experience that we had of our lockdown, everything went on a bit of a go slow. So we physically have met in person a couple of times. So I know and understand and love your energy. And I'm loving the fact that you are coming back to Ireland. So you are coming back to Ireland to do a tour here, which is super exciting. And you're coming back with my sister-in-law, Stephanie Kaneswaran. She's married to my brother, Kelly. And Starlet Therapies, starlettherapies.ie is running that event with you, and you're going to go and do a few days of looking at the sites in Ireland, all the sacred sites in Ireland, and also having a masterclass, and we'll go through all of what you do. So for everyone else out there, I'm Hazel Kaneswaran, Hazel Grogan, and I am from Hazel Therapies, and I am introducing you to the most amazing channel, my favorite, Judy Satori. And Judy Satori is an international recognized spiritual teacher. She is a multi-dimensional channel, sound healer, and Ascension way shower, and she is from New Zealand. Her spiritually guided role during Earth's ascension process is to energetically upgrade people so that they can fulfill their own purpose and do what they have come to do on this planet. So Judy is a light language channeler, and people who know me, I also do that also in my work. And Judy is one of my favorite channels. I've been watching, and I've read her book in 2012. That was my original introduction to Judy. Judy's book is Sunshine Before the Dawn. She wrote that in, Judy, 2011. Is that what you said?
Yes.
2011. And that was where I got my very first introduction to Judy, and only because at the time I was starting to channel light language and I didn't understand what it was about. And I was directed to Judy's book, and that's where our connection started. So Judy, welcome. How are you, my dear?
Thank you very much, Hazel. And it's actually so exciting for me to be coming back to Ireland because I just loved it last time I was there. I was there only for 4 days, and this time I'm planning to have a bit of a look around. And do you have a connection? Remind me, do you have a connection? Is there an Irish connection in your family? Yes. I would say I'm about half Irish in terms
Okay.
of my ancestry.
Okay.
My grandparents, my great-grandparents came from Ireland to New
Amazing.
Zealand. And, you know, when I came to Ireland in 2019, I really felt at home because of the mannerisms of my grandfather and my great aunts
Yes.
and how they spoke. It was very, well, they're Irish, you see.
Yeah.
So it was very, I felt very at home. It was
Yeah.
very special.
And where are they from in Ireland?
They're from, they're actually from Northern Ireland.
Amazing.
But I feel at home wherever I go in Ireland. I think I feel more affinity to Southern Ireland actually, because I feel very connected to the ancient ones and the spirits of the land, the she and the sacred sites and the special energy that I think is very, very, particularly in Southern Ireland, I feel. But
And that's why you're going to come back now to do the Sacred Sites tour with Stephanie and Kelly. And you're also here to do an actual workshop, so workshop for people. So I know that when I was linking in with Stephanie, she said that your first day you have decided, which is your Tuesday night, which is the 30th of May, decided to let people come to that for, is it a donation or is it free?
It's free. If people want to give a donation to cover the cost of the room, that's fine. But it's actually, I just have come to Ireland because I really want to help people step up and be who they really are inside. You know, we all have this feeling, I think many of us have a feeling that there's so much more that we could do, but we just don't know how, and we don't know what's inner urge that we hear on this planet at this time in these bodies teaching about ascension. And this is about the activation potential for a long time now, 25 years. People alive today are here for a purely have to be a international teacher type purpose. The purpose is just to step into the truth of their own soul and work through their heart and to really become the person that they authentically are within. So what I do is that I work with spirit. I'm really used as a conduit, a catalyst to bring energy through my body and through my voice to help people step into their own authentic truth and do what they've come to do. So I think, Hazel, a lot of people today have this feeling of maybe I just want to do something, but I don't know what it is. I have this feeling, this calling inside that there's something that I need to be doing with my life. And I don't know if people understand how to thrive in today's world. Really trust the process that we're going through, every one of us, as we move that are going on within us and come out the other side. Because my spiritual guides always say to me, life should be about being happy and well and joy and peace and light. And so my purpose as a channel is to help touch people with their energy of what is authentic and true.
Do you find, which I noticed myself, because in 2012 when I started to channel, I was a very I didn't realize what it was. I didn't know what it was. So because I didn't really have a clue of what channeling was, and I was only introduced to channeling in English, where I've heard Bashar and Lee Carroll, Cryon, the Sarah Richards, Wendy Richardson, who does the Pleiadians. They all channeled in English. They never really channeled in light language. So what I was channeling was a coding, a light coding, like what you do. So it was very different. And I was really afraid to do it. My guides kept saying, do it, do it, do it. And I really noticed the difference of how the session, because my therapies are Reiki. So I really noticed the difference of how differently the session goes when you start to channel over the person, and especially into the heart. I always want to channel into the heart they use my fingers to tap into the heart. I know Stephanie does the same. They use the fingers to open up the heart chakra, and then they use the light codes or the light words to open the coding that's in the heart space. And I really feel that's a really big, massive shifting in a session compared to just doing an energy session.
Oh, totally, totally, because the heart energy, the love energy is like a catalyst to open us into our truth, to open us into who we are. And really, when we talk about channeling, every person on the planet is a channel because we're all connected to spirit. We're connected to multidimensional energies, multidimensional beings. We've got a physical body, but we're also an energy being. And so because we're energy beings, we can connect with other energies really easily.
Yes.
And, you know, my first ever introduction to spirit is when I went to a Learn to Channel course. And it was 25 years ago. And I met, like I felt the energy of, and I saw in my inner sight, tall, dark man with a purple robe, and it sounds a bit weird, but he was my first introduction to being able to connect to other beings in other worlds and other dimensions. And since working with this being who told me his name was Balthazar, and I discovered that he was one of the Magi, one of the three wise men that was there at the birth of Jesus. See, these guides, these spiritual beings, spiritual entities, they connect with us to help us progress on our path and do what we're here to do. They're just guides for us in our own journey, really. So in my journey 25 years ago, I started working with many ascended masters and many angels and other beings, and then also other beings from other worlds, other dimensions of reality, from out from off the earth. But so it was a process, but all of us as human beings, we can do this.
Yes.
And it is through the heart, because the heart is like the gateway, the love that we create in the heart.
Yeah. I mean, we are, as humans, we don't use our full potential anyway, but I think because of the shifting that's happening, people are now starting to, and I think you and me both are seeing this, where especially in the last few years experience, where people are now starting to move into not back to, but we always knew we could do all of these modalities of healing, all of these gifts that we have already innately within us. We already have clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance. These gifts we already have. And people don't understand it. They think they need to be born with it or be a seventh son or a seventh son, or that has to be gifted to us, where we all actually have it. And so many of my clients who are getting on the bed can't believe how quickly they open the heart and how quickly they become channels. It's like activating each of us, or activating each other to awaken each of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, Hazel, this is the time. Yes. This is the time for people to open to their own gifts, soul, to their own gifts. Yeah. And this is helping to activate soul DNA memory.
Yes.
Being locked away within us through many, many lifetimes. Yes. And this is the lifetime to bring it out and to truly step into our truth and our real power. Because every person is powerful. Every person has ability. Every person is just ready to open to the knowing, the knowledge and the wisdom that they have always had, but they've just forgotten.
Yes. And I know I work a lot with Jesus myself and his energies, and he said, I am the master healer, but so are you, and so is he, and so is she. Yeah. That we all have these gifts that God is within every one of us. We are all children of God. And when people understand that, you change it to, especially because we're here in Ireland, and there's lots of the systems in play with the religion and our educational system. We've had a lot of where it was conditioned into us that only one person, and this person was put on this pedestal. When we actually bring it down to a human level, where we all put ourselves on the same level as Jesus, and we're not saying like we are as amazing as him, but we put ourselves on the same level, that we can all do exactly what he did. And he says that in the Bible, that we can all do exactly what he did, because we are all children of God.
Exactly. I totally agree. And it's like, as Jesus will do and more. And honestly, this is the time. I feel that there's an energy beyond what we've known, and what we are all going into new capacities, new abilities. We're opening to new capacities and new abilities. If you may or may not believe in past lives, but I happen to.
Yeah.
Sunshine Before the Dawn.
Yes.
And that was a book that I remembered, really. It was dictated to me. It was a book about a woman from Sirius called Ascension. And when I was writing the book, it was like on a screen in my mind. When I wrote the story, that we all have our stories. We all have our own past stories, and sometimes it's good to remember the stories of our own soul's past, because that helps us understand that we are not just this Judy person or this Hazel person in this body in this lifetime. We're so much more than this. And this time on the planet between 2020 and 2033 is the time for like taking the blinkers off, really, and seeing life through new eyes, of the illusion of how we have perceived ourselves as human people, going beyond this.
Yeah, and again, maybe it again is the conditioning that was being played, that we were led to believe that we weren't as good as. And now we're having to step back into our power, and we see across the board so many people, especially the women. I mean, most of my clients, 95% of my clients are women. So many of them stepping back into their power of these amazing healers, because many times over, one of my other modalities is past life regression. So I do QHHT, and I have done so many sessions on women who have gone back into past lives where they were witches and foragers and druids and shamans, and they worked with the land, and then they were burned at the stake for doing those things, and then that fear comes into the next life, and then they don't want to step in and do it because they're really fearful, and that's ingrained in their cells. And like really trying to unlock that. And a lot of my clients who are my guides say, tell them to activate their own light codes. How many times before have we been healers before where we have the light codes already in our body, we just have to want to turn them back on?
We do have to want to turn them back on, and that's where the heart, the love comes in. Because when we go into the heart space, we open the capacity to go into these other memories of self. And I want to tell you one story, and this is interesting, because when I was probably 30 years ago, I went to a naturopath, and he put a quartz crystal on my heart. I was a bit depressed at the time, you see, and he put a quartz crystal on my heart, and he said, breathe into the quartz crystal. So, excuse me, so I breathed into the crystal, and he said, your body wants to remember something. And he said, your body is not your last past life, it's 2 lives back. So I breathed into the crystal, and what I started to do was I started to speak in an Irish accent. And this is like an Irish brogue. I couldn't possibly, in my New Zealand accent, put that on. I couldn't possibly do it. But I remembered a lifetime that I'd had in the 1840s during the time of the potato famine in Ireland.
Amazing.
And it was not to come to Southern Ireland, because I know it was there. It was somewhere in touches my heart to go there, really.
And that's it. There's lots of memories that we have in our bodies. There's lots of memories that we have, and they're really coming back to the surface. I definitely notice that a lot of us are really accessing the higher self much easier. Like the oversoul, the 8th chakra is so heightened at the moment, and people are just. I've had so many clients in the last 6 months that are going back in past lives within 5 minutes of getting on the bed for a Reiki session. So they weren't coming for past lives, but the minute they get on the bed, they're like, oh, I see myself as an Apache. And they just go in. And like I have to keep trying to go get my phone to record the session, because that's normally a different session. But I definitely believe that people who are going to be brought to me are going to be brought to me, whether it is to unlock with a light code, or whether it's to do with the light language, or whether it is to show them where the life they've had before and where they're holding the energy in this life now.
Yes, and I totally agree. I think when we don't stay in those past lives. Yes. We can reconnect to those past lives because they teach us something that is helpful to us in this life. Yes. They help us to go beyond that block or that limitation, which, as you quite rightly say, is often trapped in the cells of cellular memory of the body. Yes. So when we unblock that cellular memory, we just feel freer, we feel lighter. Yes. And it's a bit like a snake shedding a skin. A snake skin. Every time we release and we feel lighter, we shed another layer of the old karmic snake skin.
Yes,
like karmic. This is like karmic trauma energy that is locked into the cells of the body. Yes. So that's pretty
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, we go back to your book. I've read your book about 4 or 5 times. Every time I read Sunshine Before the Dawn, I get something different. And it's like every single time I read Sunshine Before the Dawn, there's always a purge that happens afterwards. It's like even the light coding by reading the words in the book does something within my body. I don't know whether it does that for everyone else.
It actually does. That's what my spiritual guides have told me, because the words in Sunshine Before the Dawn are coded.
Yes.
So when people read them, they're taking the energy into their eyes.
Yes.
And it's, even though it's my story about a Syrian woman called Ascension, and it's my life story,
yes.
When people read the book, it actually activates their own past life stories.
Yes.
And it's interesting, Hazel, because right now, when I go back to New Zealand, I'm actually rewriting Sunshine Before the Dawn, because there's new parts that I want to add to the story that 10 years ago I didn't know.
Yes, yeah.
Now I do.
Yeah. And when you were writing that book, you said that you wrote that book. Was it writing it because you were seeing it in your mind and you were writing it by telling the story, or was it automatic writing, that it was automatically just flowing out as you were typing or writing?
It was like I heard it in my mind, like I was taking dictation.
Yeah.
And how it happened was that I lived at the time in upstate New York in USA,
yeah.
Near a lake. And I was sitting on the deck looking at the lake one night, and I saw a large ball of light, like an orb of light, hovering above the lake. And as I was pretty gobsmacked by that, really. And I looked at the ball of light, and an energy came and it hit me in the throat, and it just about knocked me over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard someone talking to me in my mind, and he told me he was the commander of a spaceship, and that ball of light was some sort of landing craft or something, like surrounded by the light. And he said, this commander of the spaceship said, "We're coming soon to tell you a story. We want you to write it down and share it with others." So 4 months later, in January of the next year, I saw the ball of light above the lake again.
Amazing.
And then I heard the words, "It's time to get up and write."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wasn't that keen on that because it was midwinter
Yes.
upstate New York and it was cold. But I did, after I kept hearing the voice. And the first words that I wrote on the computer screen were "The Dreamers." And the story that was dictated to me was the story of the original creation of the human being around 100,000 years ago. It was a story about a meeting. It began with a meeting of the Galactic Council of this Milky Way galaxy on a star called Antares. And they were discussing a problem concerning Earth, because Earth, way back in time, around 650 odd years ago, was a place called Tara, T-A-R-A, which is interesting that the word Tara has come down through generations. But the word Tara actually means star.
Yeah.
So as I started to write the story, it was like I was seeing a movie.
Yeah.
And I realized that I was in the story, that I was actually a member of the Galactic Council at that time, this woman called Ascension from Sirius. Okay. And it was her role and responsibility with another team from Sirius and also the Lyons to create the original human DNA and to help bring the humans to Earth. So she came to Earth, but so did we. Yes. You see, many people, if you call them people, they were people. They weren't human people. Yeah. They were star people. Yeah. But many beings from planets like stars like Pleiades, Lyra, Sirius, they chose to let go of their lifetimes in these star systems and come to Earth, be born on Earth, and take on the human DNA. Yes. So when we as beings took on human DNA, we couldn't leave the Earth for all this long period of time, because the Earth was vibrating at a third-dimensional energy pulsation, of third-dimensional frequency. Yes. Tara had been fifth-dimensional frequency, but because of something called the rebellion of the fallen angels, the energy of Tara contracted and dropped down.
That was the time of Atlantis and Lemuria.
Exactly. So Atlantis and Lemuria was, that really began around 100,000 years ago or more. Yeah. With Lemuria, Mu. Mu is a word which means the mother. So Mu was actually the motherland, and Atlantis was an offshoot of Mu, a colony of Mu. And so we as star beings came to these star colonies, Mu or Atlantis, to begin our incarnations in human form. And once we were in these human bodies, we were destined, if you like, to stay in the karmic wheel of life and death and life and death, being incarnated as humans until this time now. This time now is the time when we can release ourselves from this karmic wheel of life and death as human beings, and we can actually go home. Yes. If we choose.
I mean, it was a good experiment for us, because we were coming here to learn, right? So we're coming here, we'd never learned if we didn't come here and have those experiences, whether it be light or dark. So it was a good experience. So and people say to us, oh, this new age. It's actually not new age, because we were always fifth dimension. We dropped down to 3 and now we're going back up.
Going back up.
We're going back up, and we already have those light codes, right? So those light codes from when our energies were already at fifth dimensional energy, we drop down to 3. So as we then get rid of the trials, the traumas, the heavy weights in our bodies, and we shift back up, those light codes should automatically be able to go back on, right? If we intend them to.
Yes, absolutely. And I think part of my role is that I speak energy words, I transmit energy words that activate the light codes within us to switch back on. Yes. Because I work with, I guess you could call them energy words of new creation. Yes. These are, in the beginning was the word. God created with the word, and the word is energy, really. So we're being recreated with energy. New words are being spoken, whether these are energy words that are coming with just energies coming to the planet. But I just have this role, which is about activating DNA, activating DNA potential within human beings to switch on. That's part of what I do. And I speak these words.
And again, as I said to you earlier on, we were talking, like originally when I started on my role of being a Reiki teacher, and I was teaching, I started teaching, that was 2012 for me. You'd only written that book. I hadn't read that book at that point. And my first year of doing Reiki classes, where I was teaching people how to, just do self-healing first, then they went to level 2 and became practitioners. And then my first Reiki master started to channel in English. And I was like, oh, she was speaking to me in English, so I could understand that because we were both speaking English, but she wasn't the same girl. And this is Katie, who was Stephanie, who we know. Stephanie's my sister-in-law, who's bringing you over to Ireland. It's her auntie. So there was like a step down in the family. They all came to me. So Katie came, then she brought Stephanie. Then they all started. So not only Stephanie, Katie, so many of my students started to speak light language. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? Because I wasn't speaking at that point. So then I had to message my auntie who taught me how to do Reiki. And she said, Hazel, they're speaking over here as well. My auntie was doing 40 years of Reiki training and never had this. It all sort of started to awake in 2012, obviously with the shifting. Yeah. So we're all awakening now to learn, go back to remembering that we already have it.
Yes. And this is interesting because 2012 was a shift, big shift. But it's not as big as 2020. Yes. 2020 was next big shift. Yes. And then as we begin this next 3-year cycle of 2023, 24, 25, this is a massive shift. So I expect that many people will remember, wake up to their truth, become activated just automatically and completely out of the blue. Yes. Into not being the way they were in the past. Yes. It's like we're being remade anew. We're literally being remade anew with light.
Yes. Yes.
And it's really...
People understand that the energy of the negative energy is heavy. And the more that we release that, where before, and I suppose maybe it's because it's Catholic Ireland here for us, there was lots of people who held and suppressed so much here because there was a fear of letting go, a fear of crying, a fear of letting out emotion, where now people see it as it's not a bad thing. And even when it goes from the divine feminine, divine masculine, you see a lot more men now stepping into the roles of doing what we do. You know, so there's massive shifting on all levels where we're all stepping into it. And I see so many, and now even men becoming light language channels. And not only light language channels, but light language coding. You see on Instagram now, it's all over the place, doing coding with their hands, or it's like Morse coding, where it's this sound, where it's actually not a language, it's a sound like dee, 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 like a sound like a Morse coding.
Yes, I totally agree. Like, we're really, and this is really why I wanted to do that Tuesday night event, which is absolutely free of charge, because I want to work with the people who come to activate their potential, to clear the karmic dross that holds us back. Because you see, what a lot of people don't know is that the energy that we're vibrating with in our energy field, because we are energy beings, will directly affect how we think and feel about life, about ourselves, about our reality. It's like we're locked into this small time model of ourselves energetically because of the karmic trauma experiences that we've had in other lifetimes. Because if you've been, say, burned at the stake or had something bad happen to you, that energy tension is held in your soul DNA, which comes into this physical body in this lifetime. And so what I would like to do with the people that come on the Tuesday night, Hazel, is I want to bring energies through that are going to completely take that out really instantly, like quickly, permanently. And I'd really like to just, maybe if I just speak some language now to open the heart.
Amazing.
And so that people, you know, if you've never heard this rather weird sounding words that I speak, it is different. You know, more people are speaking light language now, but I want to do this energy work now to just, so if you feel this in your heart, then you'll know the truth of who you are. Because as I lift this energy from your heart that may be locking you into anxiety. There's a lot of people feeling anxious at the moment. And they're feeling anxious because life is changing on the inner planes of who we are. And we haven't got any reference points out there in our world. And then we have all the things that we've got to do in our human day-to-day life affecting us as well. And it's really scary. So I'll just do this energy work now and see how you... And I really feel the energy of Jesus, Yeshua. He's really around you, Hazel, a lot, isn't he? I feel him.
The Jesus fella, I say, the Jesus fella.
Jesus fella. Okay. We should look here. Okay. It's interesting because I'm just doing this energy work with my hands. Are you feeling anything?
Hence why my hand is tapping.
You see, because I don't speak these energy words and I don't produce it myself. It comes through me, and it's not coming through me at this moment because I need to be working with my hands. And what I'm doing is my hands are moving and they're like teasing out the dross, teasing out the pain, teasing out and removing energy blocks around the heart chakra and also around the throat chakra, because the throat chakra is the chakra of divine will. So part of our process as human beings and as souls is that when we expand and when we step outside of ourselves and who we've known ourselves to be, we can often get affected around the throat because the karmic blocks that we've had from past life to do with not being able to speak out, not being able to be heard, being betrayed, all that sort of thing, to do with the throat chakra. They come up and like grab us in a way, like strangle us, put a stranglehold around us.
Yes.
And so I'm just going to work to clear. So Hazel, are you feeling anything in your throat? Yeah.
Throat and my heart.
And your heart.
Yes.
So just it's interesting that I'm not saying a word in light language at the moment, which is not normal for me, but I'm certainly doing the energy work. And now I'm working with the third eye, which is about creating and manifesting. Because we have to become really good manifestors, really good creators, because we have to recreate our world. We have to recreate our lives. We have to recreate the way we communicate in community, the way we network and organize life together. Life has to change. You know, we have to become co-creators with all, and not the type of people that just create for ourselves. We have to co-create for community and the planet, and to change the way our planet operates and how society's systems operate on this planet Earth. We need to change the mindset that we have to grab and be separate from everybody else. And so this takes a shift in consciousness to do with the third eye, and to do with the way we relate to people, and the way we relate to ourselves, and the way we relate to the world and the communities and societies that we live in. So I'm just doing some more work, and it's not, I mean, you're really clear, Hazel, so I'm not doing work.
Don't mind you cleaning some of my crap, Judy, don't worry.
Well, we all have crap, don't we? We all have crap.
We build crap every day, right?
Well, we do, because we shouldn't label ourselves and put ourselves down because of how we think and how we feel, because the people that get depressed the most, I think, have often had the most karmic trauma, and those that have had the most karmic trauma are usually those in past life that have really tried to do a lot. Yes. Because that's how you've taken it in, because, you know, the trauma energy is being perpetrated on us, you know, by some person in the past, and we've just absorbed it like a sponge. So we are all created the same, that are sort of weighing us down. So I'm just going to, so what I'm being asked to do by Yeshua Jesus now is bring in a pillar of light. This is for you, Hazel, but also for everybody who may listen and watch this. And I love to know what you're experiencing, but this pillar of light is actually a strengthening pillar of light. It's strengthening, it's enfolding, it's like a balm for the soul. What are you experiencing?
I'm experiencing my light language wanting to come in, like, get out. Yes. Not my gig today, not my gig.
So it's interesting that mine isn't coming out at the moment. Energy is coming out through my hands.
And it's funny because your screen keeps stalling. So I know that will catch up, but it keeps stalling as the energy is coming in.
Interesting.
It's okay. It catches up itself.
Now there's some light language coming out, and this light language that is going to come out is like a blessing. It's like a blessing of light. It's about helping everybody who's watching this, who watches this, to step into their truth really, really, really quickly.
Yes.
Okay? This is it. Mikulish lasad betul kalau kata kalau dia aku tak sabat kalau start betul ki aku lu sada sabat kalau pada start betul kalau pada aku tak betul kalau pada start betul ya aku tak betul kalau pada ki start betul kalau pada kalau pada kalau si aku tak kalau sakati aku tak kalau sakati aku laki saya kata betul kalau sakati ya aku See, when I come to Ireland, I really feel that the ancient ones of the land, the she, the fairy folk, they're really coming in very
So
strongly.
And
they
for the children especially. I have
Yes.
lots of children who are coming to me who are now going back and they say, oh, Hazel, I see myself as fairy boots. And I'm like, oh, tell me your story about when you were a fairy. And they'll just go straight in.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes, because I feel that the she are really, really wanting humanity to shift. And that's also, I also feel that there is a big alignment happening within the earth, you know, from above to below.
Yes.
You know, I talk a lot about 22 galaxies that are configured together in a vast multigalactic diamond, which is really a matrix, if you like, of a more expanded God creation energy that we're now able to access. Yes. And this more expanded God creation energy is also coming to us in a more powerful way. And it's designed to act like an ascension catalyst, to activate the wisdom and the strength and the truth and the knowing that we all have as human people inside of ourselves within this DNA that I talk about, the soul DNA. Because we know about our human DNA that we inherit from our ancestral line, our mother and our father and our forebears. But we also have a soul DNA, which is like the Akashic records of the soul that we bring into this body in this lifetime.
Yes.
And this soul DNA is an incredible repository of wisdom and knowledge and spirit, God, all the spiritual hierarchy. They really want us to step up and step into our power really quickly now, because it is the time.
It is a time, and again, I've said this to so many, that when your intention is for your light codes to go on, or if it means that you're going to step back into your human potential, what we have the ability to do, your guides and your team on the spirit side won't give you anything that you can't handle. So it's not like flicking on a switch of your light codes go on, like boom, light language comes out. If you're not ready for that, your guides will say, let's just turn up the volume slowly. We'll give them, as Dolores Cannon says, don't give a baby fillet steak, you give a baby milk, right? It's like a slow process. And if people are not going to be switched on instantly, and some people, I've noticed that's a lot of people, that's why it would be really good for you when you come here to do the Sacred Sites tour, that a lot of people are getting switched on when they turn up at places where they're like, oh, it's like stepping onto a portal of energy. And all of a sudden their light language comes up. So there's lots of portals in the earth that are being reactivated also.
They are, definitely, that's true. Yeah. And, you know, I often talk about a place called Amenti. Yes. And Amenti is like the inner earth kingdoms. And Amenti is like the place of the pulse rhythms of the earth, like the heartbeat of the earth. Yes. And there are many beings who guard the portals to Amenti, yes, the gateways to Amenti. And, you know, within Amenti there's 7, it is said that there are 7 lords of Amenti, like 7 ancient beings that hold the codings intact within Amenti. But there's also ancient ones who guard the secrets of the universe within Amenti. And within Amenti is this knowledge, this wisdom that really needs to come out for the planet, yes, for people, and it will come out in the time ahead. Yes. It is primed to come out. And I also feel that when I come to Ireland, I feel that there will be people drawn to Ireland, not just from Ireland, but drawn to Ireland. And I know that there are people coming to the events, and it's not about me. It's about they are drawn from their heart to come to the Emerald Isle, to come to the place of Tara, because that is the next step for them, yes, personally, yeah, on their journey.
Yes, and I mean, it's like where people will turn up to different places. Where I originally met you physically when we went to Bosnia and the pyramids in Visoko. We went there, was 100 odd spiritual teachers and healers from all over the world. 5 of us from Ireland came, and we all went to this very small little village, Visoko, that wasn't really able for like tourists yet. It was a little bit backward, but it was amazing energy there. And the Pyramid of the Sun there, people that lived in the locality said, no, it's not a pyramid. And we were like, oh my God, it's such a pyramid. We were like, anyone who was a light language channel had light language coding and being reacted the minute that they went close to the pyramids, because there was such a powerful energy from that pyramid. So you sort of go to places when you do this type of work, you're brought to portals when especially to activate and amplify energy for them. And the same happens here. Like when you're coming here, it might bring a lot of people to Tara, to the places they're going to and the sacred sites that will help activate the energies there also.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the interesting thing about the Pyramid of the Sun,
yes,
in Bosnia, the Bosnian pyramids, is that it's totally aligned with the 22 galaxies of this multidimensional diamond, which is now the energy from these 22 galaxies, which are like 22 tones and overtones and different frequencies that work together as one, as an activation coding, an activation portal. And it's so interesting that the number 22 is a master builder number. So when we absorb the energies of the 22, we step into our mastery. We start to step into the authenticity and who we really are and step forward and do what we've come to do. Really.
And amazing that we have you, thankfully, that we have you ahead of us that knows the way, and you're an amazing light for us all. So it means that we have somebody, because I mean, if I had done light language in 2012 and not had your book and not had your guidance, I would have probably took me another 10 years to do what I do. And then that would have then been a step off where a ripple effect would have went out, that my own students and clients who are speaking light language, they would have never had the experience either. So there's a massive big ripple effect that can happen from one person. You know that, I know that. So your role in this, I know, I'm sure you're like me, you'll want to do this to the day you die, take your last breath. You'll probably still be going to the portals, you'll probably still be touring and doing all this, but do you feel that this is your life's plan, that this is what you were always meant to do?
Yes, but I didn't know that until halfway through my life.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think, you know, my background was a physiotherapist, and then I spent many years in marketing and public relations and writing. But when I started to do this work with spirit, it completely came out of the blue. I had no idea, you know, in my PR days, my marketing days, corporate marketing and PR, if anybody had told me that I would ever speak in multigalactic languages or talk about beings from other planets, I would never have believed them. It's like sometimes life slams you and turns you in a completely different direction. And that happens. Yes.
No, it's all right. And we don't see it when we're going through it, you know, say for instance when our job, you know, ends, or you know, a relationship ends, or some experience or some trauma in your life, you don't see it at the time. And I always try to say to people now at the moment, like, you've got to be in your now, in the observer mode all the time. Like, pull yourself out and look down. Why is this happening? Look at everything that's happening around. It's not just that one experience. And maybe like this really crappy job. And that was one of the things I was listening to in your book there about the 12 ladies in Lyra that were doing the genetic coding. They were saying you've got to do things that bring you joy. You cannot do things that doesn't bring you joy. And this brings me joy. I know it brings you joy, and we'll do it till the moment that we die. Absolutely.
You know, at the moment I'm in Italy and I'm exploring beauty, joy, love, and light, because I know that the frequencies of beauty, joy, love, and light are absolutely critical for us to vibrate. We have to vibrate at that resonance of beauty, joy, love, and light. We have to vibrate in those frequencies to be able to open into the new. So I'm here preparing for coming to Ireland. It's not bad preparation, is it? Eating gelato and pizza. But it's very important for me to be in that frequency, because I could be sitting in New Zealand at the computer doing normal stuff, but I'm here because I have to let go and let God. I have to
have balance.
Yes, have balance. But it's more than that. It's actually about the vibration in my own body, the vibration in my own heart, that is going to allow me to open keys and codes within myself when I come to Ireland to do the work.
Exactly. You have to have the balance where you have the parts that bring you joy. You can't do it all the time where it's like go, 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 because there has to be balance.
But you see, you know how we talk about opening soul knowledge and opening keys and codes within ourselves. And every time someone speaks the light language, what they're actually doing is they're opening keys and codes within themselves. They're reconnecting to more of the authentic truth of who they are on a soul level, as an eternal soul. So my mission in coming to Italy is to allow the frequency of my body to merge gracefully into beauty, love, joy, and light, because that energy will access what I'm meant to do in Ireland.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. So you're here on Tuesday, the 30th of May, and you're here for a few days, right? You're doing the Tuesday, the 30th of May is like an introduction to who you are and a little bit of light language and a meet and greet. And if people have your book, you'd probably sign it for them, right?
What I really want to do on that Tuesday, which is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at City North Hotel in County Meath. But what I really, really want to do is I want to transmit lots of energy. I want to clear the karmic trauma from people really, really quickly. And I want to answer questions. I want to give the overview of information that people, I think, would really help people right now.
Yeah.
So that we can step out of ways of living that don't work for us and become happy and well and strong and joyful.
Yes, and amazing, because it's great that you're offering it to people for free or donation basis. Then it means that people can choose to, if it means that they didn't have the money to turn up, but they really wanted to connect with your energy. So then also, if it means that they awaken something within them on that Tuesday night, that it means that if they were available to come on your weekend course, your workshop, that they could have had the meeting with you in the first place, so you can feel, or the resonance of, did they like your energy or not?
I think that's really important, because I mean, you don't know. You don't know whether you like pizza, for example, until you taste pizza. Exactly. So I always feel, Hazel, that people have to feel the energy. If you feel the energy and you feel a positive shift by feeling the energy, then you might want to have more of that energy.
Exactly.
So it's just about experimenting. It's about meeting me. But remember that I'm just a conduit. I'm just a channel for the energy. It just happens to be my role. I never thought it would be my role when I was in marketing land, that I would ever do this, but it's just what I'm meant to be doing this lifetime. So I just do it, really.
So the Tuesday you're going to be here, that's the 30th of May, that's a free event. Then Wednesday you're off with Paul, you're doing the Positive Nights with him. Thursday you're back with us, you're doing the masterclass, and that's sold out, right? I think
the class is actually sold out, right?
That's in.
And then there's Stephanie Kaneswaran Sacred Site Tour, and I believe that's sold out too.
Yeah, so that's on Friday. So that's the
Saturday
Sacred Site are on the
Friday. Yeah. So Stephanie's Sacred Site Tour, yes, it's on the Friday, and it is apparently sold out.
Yes.
But then Saturday and Sunday is going to be at another venue called Glebe House.
Yeah.
And which is a beautiful wedding venue in the country.
It's so beautiful.
Really idyllic.
Yes.
And Saturday is called Ascension in You. It's about becoming a more evolved type of human being. There's so much content in that. You can go onto my website or Stephanie's site, but my website is judysatori.com.
Yeah.
And you can read all, about all the days and what they are. But it's about going beyond who we know ourselves to be. Yes. It's about very quickly and rapidly becoming more of who you are, understanding what's happening to people on the planet right now, why we feel the way we do, why we feel that we don't want to maybe do what we used to do anymore. Yes. Because we are not the person that we used to be. But we're sort of on the bridge. Many people are sort of, they're in the boat. They're not on the shore, they're not on the other shore, but they're in the boat crossing the water. So as we are in the boat crossing the water, we don't quite know where we're going. Yeah. So the Saturday is really about giving insight and understanding as to where people are going, but a lot of energy transmissions.
Yes.
on a...
I was just reading there, releasing fear, sabotaging beliefs, trusting in the flow of life and trusting the self, listening to your heart's voice, making good decisions, developing your intuition, which a lot of people are coming up like really, you know, heightened intuition now, and really trusting that, because I think that's a big thing, especially the Irish thing, is like not trusting ourselves and having more faith in what we can do, opening the heart into love, healing and strengthening relationships. And that's massive, because obviously, again, Irish people hold a lot of energy in their heart, healing blocks to love, calling in love. So really, I feel like Saturday is a big day of the heart energy.
It is. It definitely is, because the heart, as you said right at the beginning, the love energy, the heart is the gateway to the Sunday. Yes. And the Sunday is about going off planet, really.
Yes.
I've called it calling all star seeds, activate your soul's destiny plan. Yes. But we're going to be working with like star beings. We're going to be working with the 22 galaxies of this multidimensional diamond, but we're also going to be working within 144 dimensional realities or dimensional worlds. And at this time, I don't even know what this is about. I just know that it's going to be
amazing.
Well, I feel very special. I feel that we're going to be joined by beings that I don't even know exist right now.
Yeah, you're really going with the flow yourself.
Worked with yet.
Yeah. And that's amazing too. That's amazing for me watching you, because I know that you have such trust in it. Sometimes, you know, I look at myself, I'm 10 years channeling myself, and sometimes people say to me, how do you not know what you're saying? What's that language you're speaking? Is that Spanish, Hazel? And I'm like, no, it's light language. I'm trying to explain it in my way, but you have such an amazing way of doing it, because you're doing it this length of time. And also that you can actually translate, which is so good. You can translate what you're hearing most times. I'm not able to translate what I'm hearing. I just trust and go with the flow when it comes from me. So it's really good for anyone. A lot of my friends and students and Stephanie's, where there's lots of us are all connected together, are going to your courses. So it's really good for them to get an understanding, because you're more aware and you have much more information than I do.
Oh, thank you, Hazel. And well, it's been happening for me since 2002.
Yeah.
And I had no clue what this light language was. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't really being spoken then. And I went to a spiritual festival, and I got told by Spirit I had to meditate. And then at 7 o'clock on New Year's Day, and it was New Year's Day 2002, I had to stand in front of everybody, and Spirit said to me, just open your mouth. And I had my eyes shut, because I was too nervous to not have my eyes shut then. So I had my eyes tightly shut. And I said to everybody, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm told to stand here and open my mouth and say something.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, mouth came a torrent of this really strange language. Yeah. And it gave me quite a shock, actually. And I sort of opened one little eye and I looked around, and some of the people were laughing, but they weren't really laughing at me. They were just laughing spontaneously. Yeah. Like, they couldn't.
Because that's an outburst or a purging of energy too. So that comes to the surface.
Yes. And some people were crying, and some people were just sitting there like stunned mullets, like, you know, they couldn't move. But that was the start.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it just happened to me automatically from that day, and that was a long time ago now.
Well, we are so looking forward to seeing you. I can't wait. I'm counting down the days, Judy. And then that'll be your last day, right? So there's tickets left for the final 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday. That's the, you're coming on the Tuesday, the 30th, you're doing the introduction night. You're back on the Thursday, which is the 2nd of June. That will be your masterclass. That's sold out. Friday, you're back. Some of the crew are going on that Sacred Sites tour with Stephanie and my brother Kelly. They're doing that for Starlit Therapies, who was actually bringing you over to Dublin. Yes. And they're going to be doing that. They have a really cool tour guide who's going to bring you. And Stephanie, as you know, also she's a light language channel too. So you go with the flow on the day. Whatever happens, whatever comes through her on the day, she's a phenomenal healer too.
Yes,
so she is amazing.
And Kelly, of course, they came to New Zealand too.
Yeah, that's right. 2018. That was after 2018 in Bosnia with us.
Yes, yeah. It was. Yeah. It was. So they came to an event that I was holding in Mana Retreat Centre in New Zealand.
That's right.
So it was really wonderful to connect with Stephanie and Kelly then. And that was why in 2019, Stephanie and Kelly helped bring me to Ireland.
Yeah. And I was there with you that night as well. I brought my son. My son's like, you're bringing back that special lady. My youngest boy is really connected spirit. He goes, because I had a really cool photograph of me, you and him. And he's like, you bring back that special lady, Mom. Oh, I was standing beside her and feel the energy. So that's a good sign. Out of the mouth of babes, they say here.
Well, I think the young, the young children, the young people,
yes,
they're the ones. You see, they have come in on a completely different vibration than certainly someone of my age. Yeah. And so these little kids, they haven't necessarily been in human bodies on Earth like us.
Yes.
They've more come from the stars, some of them. Yes. Or as you say, with the little children who are coming to you, they've been fairies and pixies and
elementals,
beings and other types of bodies.
Yes.
But they're here now because this next 50 years is so very important to the future of the earth and the future of humanity.
They're the next way showers. I definitely believe when they talk about the 3 waves of volunteers, like they're the next ones who are coming in. It's all the ones who are coming in now, the newbies, like 20 up to 25, 26-year-olds who have that real special energy they just know. They don't like conforming to the rules. They don't like doing the stuff that we were told we had to do. So we love them. I love them. I have 4 sons and they're all so different. So for me, it's just like, oh, who's next in the family line who's going to go down my road? So I'm dying to see what's going to happen. Exactly. So look, before my computer blows up, Judy, and my recording runs out. So just for other people out there who are not going to be seeing Judy in Ireland, she will be back, but keep in contact with her. You're on Instagram, Judy, right? Judy.
Yes, I am.
Sorry, is it Judy?
Yes, I am. I'm on. If they go to www.judysatori.com, JUDYSATORI.com. People can go there, and yes, I'm on Facebook, Instagram.
All social media, and really your website is amazing because you have the Ascension Library there, and that's for anyone who wants to become a member of the Ascension Library. That is such a cool place for all the information. You can just go on and you want to become a member, or there's so much information there, Judy. I mean, you're giving it out, a lot of it for free also. So a place for people to go if they're interested, or they feel some form of awakening in themselves, or they feel that they're pulled or drawn to you. If they don't get to see it in Ireland, there's plenty of other places where you connect via social media.
Exactly. Well, you see, there's me, but there's also, as you quite rightly said, the Ascension Library. And the Ascension Library is ascensionlibrary.org.
Yes.
Okay. And you can get there through judysatori.com as well. Yes. But the Ascension Library are tools that I've been given by Spirit over the last 15 or so years, that helps people go through the changes that we're all going through right now and get there faster. Yes. Tools. It's like a toolkit, information and Ascension Library, and you can explore. There's recordings you can listen to and explore how these recordings affect you. But they're like tools to get there faster. Yes. and to basically, Hazel, to be happy and well.
Yeah.
And a lot of the work that I'm doing now is about physical regeneration and working with the physical body, and that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and if people are ready, and people are, there is light codes in their body that they're are ready to go on, and they put it out there to the universe, I'm ready, the universe will provide them with you. It's no coincidence. I don't believe that you just go on Google and all of a sudden Judy Satori pops up. I don't believe that. And that's exactly the same that happened with me when I started in 2012. I asked for the knowledge. Okay, I don't understand why I'm talking like this. I don't understand why my students are talking like this. Send me the knowledge. And within the week, the book Open to Channel came. I read about channeling, and then the following week your book came. And I've read your book 4 or 5 times. Every single time I get a download from it. So it is, and for people out there, it's called Sunshine Before the Dawn. Judy will eventually put it into Audible. I know you will.
I am recording the whole new book.
Amazing. We want
I've booked it in Hazel into the recording studio for August. Amazing. And I'm recording the new book.
Fantastic. That's because so many people go into Audibles now. People go around the house cleaning and listen to books now. It's easy way now for multitasking moms especially. So thank you so much for that. But look, thanks so much for talking to me today. Thank you for taking yourself away from the chocolate and the ice cream in Italy And the pizza. I hope you're having lots of pizza and pasta, and you'll be lovely and rolly and fat by the time you get to us in Ireland. We'll walk the legs off you. And we'll see you here on Tuesday the 30th. For anyone else out there who are looking for tickets for that, there's some tickets still available for the Saturday and the Sunday of Judy's tour. That is the Friday, the Sacred Sites tour is gone. That's the 2nd of June. It's the 3rd and the 4th of June. And they're all still, some tickets still available on Starlit Therapy. So it's StarLitTherappies.ie. So that's my sister-in-law, Stephanie, and my brother, Kelly. And they're both bringing Judy over to Dublin for her next tour. And that is coming up in the next few weeks. So Judy, thank you so much for talking to me. And I can't wait to see you. Get the hug.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And when people go onto my website, it automatically clicks them to Stephanie's website.
That's right. Yeah, so that's
the bookings are not through me; they're through Stephanie. Yeah. So I've just got information, and Stephanie's got the same information, and you can go to either site to find out more.
Well, look, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you very much.